celebration. Eagles, 49ers, and frankly, Dan, you could have played quarterback for San Francisco. They desperately needed you by the time this was over. First quarter, this is a 4th and 3. Jalen's going to go for it. He's going to throw it up, and Devontae Smith is kind of going to come down.
Great awareness by Devontae. Sticks one hand up. You can see right now he's getting up going, hey, guys, we got to get to the line of scrimmage. I don't know if I necessarily caught this football. Great coordination by Philly's offense being ready for the moment.
That's a terrible job by missing the opportunity to challenge that. It was a 4th down, critical play early. Miles Sanders punches it in, touchdown, Eagles up 7-0. And now here's really where the game gets away. RC, we're going to see the rush from Hassan Reddick, and we're going to see essentially the end of Brock Purdy's
Honestly,
day.
though, pressure busts pipes. We always think about the turnovers or the fumbles or whatever can be created. There's also injuries that are created when you get to the quarterback. And we used to have a saying, let's see what the backup can do.
Yeah, and how about the backup's backup? Purdy would suffer an injury to the throwing elbow. You know what happened by now. How about this run, Rex, from Christian McCaffrey?
One of the best runs I think I've ever seen. Yeah. Look, he hurdles over a guy and then spins off, breaks about 5 tackles in the end zone.
Ties the game at 7 with Josh Johnson playing quarterback. Then the running game, Dan, Miles Sanders.
Yeah, this is a great job. Off tackle to the left. You get Kelsey in front. Lane Johnson peeks the backside. Touchdown.
And then this is where it gets away. Josh Johnson just drops the snap.
It's a tough situation for Josh Johnson. He's got a great career to be in. Ball pops out of his hands. Easy takeaway. And then the hesitation by the second level allows Boston Scott to basically go in untouched.
It would have been 14-7 at the half. 21-7 felt like it changed the entire game. And then, in case there was any doubt about it, Josh Johnson's going to go down. You're going to see that.
But it's more pressure, though, Green. This isn't quarterbacks just running outside of the pocket and tearing knees or Achilles. This is pressure put on by the Philadelphia Eagles that is causing these injuries.
Brock Purdy had to come back in, but he couldn't throw the ball. At this point, it was basically over. And then now we're running into the kicker. Dan, what are we doing here?
Green, I looked over at my wife pretty early on in this game. I was like, yo, this one's over. San Francisco had to sell out to try to get something to happen for their offense, short field, and they just come up a little short on that punt.
And then just one mistake after another here. It hurts, yes, and the push out of bounds.
Frustration. That honestly, for the majority of that game, San Francisco's defense shorthanded played tremendous.
Yeah, they did.
Yes,
they hung in there.
They did.
They realized they had no chance at all. There's Jalen Hurts taking it, and he didn't play well, and they won 31-7. It was that kind of day. Philly is back in the Super Bowl.
This is a great city, man. We put in the work to have this opportunity. We pushed each other. We held each other accountable. We got one more.
What can you say about this team as a whole?
I think we played complimentary football. I think our defense sold up and sold out, created turnovers. We put points on the board when we needed it most, and going to the Super Bowl.
This is special because to do this in front of these fans, you know, it's a special city. I love this sports town, and I'm glad I'm part of it, so it's a special moment.
What did you just say?
I said I actually like Nick Sirianni now. Yeah. After the first press conference, I wasn't
That was bad.
That's why we got to stop judging press conferences, right?
I was not, no, because Adam Gase's press conference was pretty accurate.
Fair.
So, but after the first press conference, I wasn't sold on Nick Sirianni, but he is the exact coach you need for the Philadelphia Eagles and that city, and it's very difficult to take over for a coach that was fired after winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you know what? This guy did it, and he did the job. And very quick, this got a quick sense of, on the TV, you could tell it's nuts there. You were there. Give us a quick sense of the stadium.
We were in the parking lot tailgating. It was great. I think my kids saw and heard things that they never had seen and or heard before. Pretty sure my 11-year-old got flashed in a middle finger by some 20-year-old, and he looked at me like, what's up? Great environment, though. That stadium, when they're playing well, it is a phenomenal time. We had a blast.
All right, so we got a little hair on the chest for your 11-year-old there. I like that.
They didn't know a term mother had different terms other than mom.
Fair enough. That said, the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, and we're going to talk about the offense. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts, but it starts with the defense and the pressure they put on the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they won that game. I mean, the offense never even had to show up. That defense is going to win the game anyway, and it's such a dominant performance. And unfortunately, everybody's going to talk about, well, they never had their quarterbacks or whatever. Yeah, why? Because they knocked 2 of them out of the game.
Yep.
And that's why it's like, look, this thing, they might not be a historic defense, but it is a historic pass rush.
Yep.
And so when you look at this, they had 70 sacks in the regular season.
Yep.
All right. They ended up knocking these 2 quarterbacks out of the game. Yep. And by the way, I mean, if you have to give up a sack, remember, fans, if you have to give up a sack, block the best pass rusher with the tight end. Then you're going to get it. So you're giving up a sack, and now he's got an elbow.
Wait, not your starting tight end, though.
No, a backup. Not George Kittle, but the other one.
Here's the thing that if you're the Eagle fan right now, I'm not sure which way you take this, but Jalen Hurts did not look good. He did not look comfortable. He did not look. And look, that's a great defense he's playing against also.
Yeah.
But when you're now you don't play your A game and you're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, that's what it's about, though. That's what complimentary football is. Rex and I have won a ton of games where we had quarterbacks play like that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason you have a great pass rush. That's the reason you have a good coordinator. That's the reason you play well on the back end. And Jalen Hurts didn't play well. But let's go back to that game early on where he was manipulating the pocket, where he gets outside, push the football down the field to Devontae Smith on what was the catch, no catch, or whatever we want to call it. Jalen Hurts had some moments in this game when he needed to, and they found a way to win. It's not about style points. We're not trying to qualify for the college football playoff. What we're trying to do is give ourselves an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl. And now you play against Chris Jones and that Kansas City Chiefs defense, who isn't the San Francisco 49ers defense, and you try to go out and make plays then.
Meanwhile, there was some controversy at the end of this game, and it took place here. I'm sure the New York Giant fans all really enjoyed this. The Empire State Building, the legendary New York landmark, lit up in Eagles green, Rex, to celebrate the Eagles.
That is absolutely ridiculous. You got two football teams in this town. That can't happen, ever happen.
First off, that is not
Ranger
ridiculous.
colors. I don't care.
We got the Dallas Cowboy Twitter flaming Dak.
Man.
Now we got buildings in New York that are representing the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what it is? Anybody can get it now.
Hold this thought. I want to come back. Allie, I want to come back. I have things that we have a lot to say about the Empire State Building. In the meantime, as we continue, the big shakeup in Dallas. Dak's play caller Kellen Moore out. His replacement might just be Mike McCarthy. What could go wrong? We'll talk about it as we continue. Plus, Patrick the Great limping through an incredible performance. What exactly did he prove to the world last night? We've got it all.
In one-on-one so he can be an absolute butt kicker, and that's why you win the game. But here's what happens. When you do all that stupidity during the week and when you have all this fun, you set yourself up for this. You set yourself up for Joseph Asai crying on the sideline, and ain't no Kansas City Chief finna run over there and tell him it's all right. It's like Coach Tomlin used to always tell me, nobody cares about your problems, right? Most people happy that you got them. And right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are extremely happy that Joe Burrow and Eli Apple and that jabroni of a mayor and all of those people in Cincinnati who were sitting at home going like, we won the last three. We got Joe Burrow. He's like Jon Snow. It doesn't matter if you have a dragon. He will kill your queen in front of the dragon, and the dragon will forget that it's a dragon. And still, they win. The Kansas City Chiefs show professionalism, though, and execution is what gets you the Super Bowl, not great bulletin board material.
That's brilliantly said, as only you can. All right, Dan, but let's get to business here. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes. That's a man who was clearly playing on one leg. The question is, how would it limit him? The answer is maybe he gives us the defining performance of his young career yesterday.
I've never seen one of those Dragon episodes, so I don't know what you're talking about. When it comes to that, here's in many ways, yesterday was part of the reason why we've never seen anything like Patrick Mahomes before. He was the MVP this year. He had the MVP type of performance. And in a game where they ran the football for 34 yards, he had three offensive linemen that didn't play, or excuse me, three wide receivers that weren't in the game at some points, and he's on one leg. He had an MVP performance. And the thing that I liked about the game the most was a lot of the non-flashy stuff. Patrick just realizing, oh, there's nothing else down the field. I can move a little bit, just enough to get the ball in my hands. Move to my left just enough to get the ball in my hands. It wasn't maybe some of the jaw-dropping stuff that we see. Now, we saw that on the Kelsey touchdown. We saw that in the MVS touchdown. And the thing that stood out to me the most is this, Greeny. For a guy that played on one leg and no rushing yards and receivers that were out, Cincinnati's defense touched the ball 0 times. To be able to manage the game in that regard and never put the ball in harm's way carelessly was the most impressive aspect of the game performance-wise.
They touched the ball defensively 0 times. Rex, you also think they didn't touch the quarterback enough times? Defense.
Absolutely. By the way, Patrick Mahomes, I've only seen the NFL games for 50 years. Easily the most talented player I've ever seen.
We've never seen anything like it.
Nobody ever. I only saw 50 years of this. Nobody's close to this guy.
So before I get
Nobody's
how
close.
about the guts that he showed you yesterday?
The guts are crazy. And for him to sit back, he's clearly on one leg. And for him to make that run, you talk about a defining play.
Yeah, that's
it's
real.
not the throws. It's
That's
not
real.
it's that run. Why? Because look, this dude he's got everything. He's got brains. He's got arm talent. He's got he's got mobility. He's got all that. But you know what? He's got guts too. And in that situation, that's what it showed me. Like, this dude is amazing. And he just proved I'm by far the best player in the league. You can put Joe Burrow, best quarterback in the league. This dude right here, he is the guy.
He's the guy.
And
He's the
here's
best
the thing.
playmaker
I
in the
got to
league.
say this. Because of that, why the hell didn't you go after him? I love Lou Anarumo. I think he's phenomenal. I think
The
he's the best
defensive coordinator of the Bengals, yeah.
Yes. If you're facing Rex Ryan, Buddy Ryan, any other Ryan, my wife, she's going to knock the hell out of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
All right? You got to go after this guy. I wanted to make sure that he knew he was hurt. What the hell? He's sitting back. And if I'm going to rush 4,